Hi guys, so basically what I wanted to do today is kind of just go into my like spring summer style inspiration. There's gonna be like 3 archetypes that I'm like building off of. First is going to be the 1940s to 1950s sort of like ingenue playful kind of vibe. And basically for me, that's kind of really inspired by Dolores Hayes in Lolita play suits, like matching little sets. It's kind of hard to find original garments that are in the vibe that I'm searching for, that are for sale for my price range. So I'm planning on sewing them myself. The second archetype that I was thinking of is 1930s to 1940s Germanic pastoral vibes. It's very Dirndl inspired. And it has a lot of aprons and like puff sleeve blouses, and I just always look at those fashion plates and really like it, like the florals and the very layered kind of look. The third archetype that I have is like a 1910s 1920s sort of like seaside lingerie kind of vibe, sailor kind of inspired pieces, like sailor colors and like nautical references. Stripes, a big one, and then just genuinely like Edwardian like undergarments, so like chemises and petticoats and corset covers, and of course the lingerie dress. So that's basically my big inspiration for the spring summer, and I have a few outfits already that I think go into each of these categories that I can make with my current collection. So I'll show those now. Quite a few projects that I want to work on. I'm going to start with the ones that I want to sew. So I want to sew 2 more 1950s slash 40s play suits. To give a little bit of a background, play suits were popular from the 1930s through the 60s, and they basically consist of shorts and a top, or skirt and a top, or just multiple pieces that are easy to move around in, and were very popular with young people during these decades. The first one I want to be out of like a white sort of like thick material, and I want it to be very sailor kind of inspired, so a 2-piece with the high-rise shorts and then the buttons and like the apron front closure. I don't know if you know what I'm talking, I'll show it. And then a little sailor like collar in the back, but still like a halter neck. I think that's gonna be super cute. Then I want to make a more 1940s kind of 1-piece romper. I want that to be out of like a printed sort of like maybe checkered fabric, and I'm hoping it'll be like a purple check with gingham, and I just want it to be like a 1-piece, and I want it to have buttons around the waist so I can add a skirt and just have it like interchangeably. My second project, I want to be these 2 puff-sleeved 1930s slash 40s smocked blouses. I'm very inspired by this creator for her smock blouse, and that's kind of like the vibe that I'm working on right now. I've never smocked anything, but I'm starting to make one, a blouse, right now. I'm gonna dye it pink, I think, and that will be very fun. And then I want to make a more traditional one out of white cotton lawn, and have more of a Hungarian style embroidery and smocking. I want to finish 2 projects. So one of those is going to be a 1920s day dress. I need to dye it and hem it and add some embroidery and ribbon work. But it is, I can show you it actually. This is basically the state that the dress is in right now. The hem is very uneven, which I don't know how that happened, but it has this very nice godets. I patterned this off of an original 1920s dress that I have, but I don't know what I did wrong to make the hem so uneven, so I'm gonna have to redo that. Then my next project is going to be Edwardian corset cover. Okay, I bought this Edwardian crochet yoke a bit ago now, and I'm just gonna make it into a little corset cover. And I wanted to have a button front, but I might just make it a tie around the waist kind of situation. But I want to finish this. I just need to get the right fabric, the right weight of fabric. Then my last project that I want to get to is a pinafore style dress, very 1940s. So I want it to just be able to go over like a puff sleeve blouse, any blouse. I think is very kind of works into the Germanic style of dress that I'm looking at. Okay, I have a few restoration projects that I also want to do. I first want to work on a 1920s petticoat that just needs to be stabilized, and then my 1920s silk beaded dress that also needs to be stabilized. And then I have 2 pieces that I need to darn. So first I have this 1940s cotton feed sack skirt. You can see some decent sized holes because of rust damage. And then I also want to darn the holes of this 1940s skirt. This is a wool skirt, very moth bitten. Some of the holes were stitched together, so like right here, but it's creating a warp in the pleating, and so I'm just going to darn the holes in this because I don't want to mess up the pleating, and I'm going to just go over it and fill out the holes. Basically at the top of my wish list is 1910s to 1940s blouses, because currently I just have a bunch of boring kind of white cotton blouses because those are the easiest to find, but I definitely am looking for more colorful patterned blouses like this. Second on my list is going to be a straw hat. I've been getting a lot more into headwear recently. I even have an inspiration board. And I'm really looking for a straw hat, and I kind of want it to be in like a 1910s boater style. I know this is going to be probably very hard to find, but I want like a little ribbon around it and like just kind of low profile and not like a Edwardian picture sun hat, if you know what I'm talking. After that's probably gonna be a 1930s printed cotton dress, so just a day dress, maybe like button front, tie waist. I think bias cut, you know, cotton though. I don't really want any silk. Although silk is pretty, I just want something casual. Maybe even a feed sack dress if I can find one. So later that night I actually ended up buying this 1940s feed sack dress that I just saw pop up on my Depop, and I offered $32 and the seller accepted, and so I bought it like immediately because it just like fit my inspo so well. And then last on my list is 1940s to 1950s shorts, because I do wear skirts and dresses mostly, but I do like a good short from time to time. And that's all that's on my list. So very low-key, because I know better than to put not much stuff on my list when I should be spending very little.